got this one.
He's the friendly 8-year-old fox, and by far Sonic's greatest ally. It's Miles per Hour, or as he's better known by, Tails! For those of you who've never heard of Tails, he comes from the Sonic series and made his first appearance in the game Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which released in 1992. Despite Tails' age, he's pretty smart and is a great inventor. He wasn't always like that though, as when we first saw him, he was pretty timid and couldn't do much for himself. He had no parents and was bullied for a lot of his life. He was mostly bullied for his obvious birth defect, by which I mean he was born with an extra tail. But after Tails encountered Sonic, he couldn't help but follow him on his adventures. After a while, Sonic and Tails became friends, and Sonic gave him his iconic nickname that we all know him by today, as well as giving him an idea on what he could use his tails for, which would go on to be his most iconic ability. Nowadays, Tails is much more brave than he used to be, and is one of Sonic's greatest teammates. But out of all the adventures Tails has been on, none would be more amazing than if he joined alongside his hero on the Super Smash Bros. Roster. So starting off, Tails would be a fairly light character, and despite him being from the Sonic series, he wouldn't be the fastest character on the roster. Instead, he'll be slightly slower than Fox. But what he lacks in speed, he'll make up for in height, as he'd have a total of 3 jumps and would be able to wall jump, just like Sonic. But now, let's dive into his color schemes. Tails' default would have him in his iconic yellow fur and red shoes. The remaining alts would have him don the color schemes of the various Chaos Emeralds, much like Sonic's alts in Smash. We can just pretend that his default references the yellow Chaos Emerald. His next alt would have him use light blue hues. Then we have him in reddish orange hues. Here's him in green hues, then pink hues, then blue hues, then white hues, and the final alt could have him in a costume. I was originally going to have him in his costume from the TV show Sonic Boom, but
This wall tastes like dirt!
Tails is not as bright as he should be in that show, so instead his costume will be based on Robo-Tails from Sonic Lost World. Now with all that out of the way, let's dive into his neutral attacks. For some of Tails' attacks, he'll mostly do a lot of Sonic's attacks.
Oh my goodness, you're so lazy! You can't even make a unique moveset for him!
Well, I think it's fitting for his character, as Sonic is Tails' hero after all, so it only makes sense for him to do a lot of Sonic's attacks. So starting off with his jab, he'll have him do 2 punches forward just like Sonic. But instead of doing his kick, he'll end it with him swinging his tails to whack the opponent. Technically it's a 4-hit jab since his tails do count as 2 hits. For his side tilt, he'll just mimic Sonic's side tilt. Now, this actually does reference one of his attacks he has in the game Sonic the Fighters, which is also where a majority of Sonic's neutral attacks come from. For his down tilt, he'll do a leg sweep downwards, but he won't be using his legs, he'll be using his tails. The tails do count as 2 hits. It also has the chance of tripping opponents who happen to be too close. For Tails' up tilt, he'll mimic Sonic's up tilt. Again, this comes from one of Tails' attacks in Sonic the Fighters. Now for Tails' smash attacks, his forward smash has him clap his hands forward. This is an attack he can use in Sonic the Fighters. For the remainder of his smash attacks, these will incorporate one of his inventions, the Magic Hook. Although I don't know why it's called the Magic Hook because there's literally nothing magical about it, it's just technology. Anyways, this invention will spin around him for his down smash. It's pretty powerful, but it does have some end lag. His up smash will use the Magic Hook again, but this time it'll emerge from the ground in front of him. Think this attack like Snake's up smash, except it doesn't go back down. These are attacks that he can use in the game Sonic Battle. For his neutral air, he'll spin around twice with his tails extended. This was an attack he used in the Game Boy Advance game Sonic Battle. His forward and back air will have him swing his tails forward or backward. It's simple, I know, but it's still a pretty good attack. For his down air, Tails will kick his legs multiple times, similar to Yoshi's down air. The only difference is that Tails is much quicker than Yoshi's. And finally, for Tails' up air, he'll spin his tails like a helicopter, which is his signature move. This does have multiple hits of damage before launching foes with the final hit. This attack comes from his very first playable appearance in Sonic 2, and has been his main ability since then. Plus, to harken back on the idea that this move was used as a recovery option in the original games, you can slightly get some air recovery with this move. But where Tails shows how brave he truly is with his special attacks. For Tails' neutral special, Hill Spin. I know that seems generic, but this is his main way of attacking in Sonic Adventure. With this attack, Tails will spin in place, launching foes a set distance away. Now, there is a cool thing you can do with this attack. If you hold the special button down, Tails will keep spinning, but his spin gets faster and faster, and you're freely able to move left and right if you'd want to. The power of this attack also gets stronger, but there is one flaw if you hold the button down for too long. If you hold the button down for about 8 seconds, Tails will actually get dizzy, causing him to get stunned. You need to be careful when using this move at times, so only use it if you need to use it. For Tails' side special, he'll be using another one of his inventions, the Arm Cannon. This works just like a lot of charge-up based attacks that a lot of characters already have in Smash. But the difference with this attack is that Tails can charge this up while moving, although he does move slightly slower than normal. Plus, if used in the air, he'll just blast an energy beam diagonally downwards, which isn't as strong as when it was fully charged up, but it's still strong enough to send foes flying. For his down special, Tails will use the Spin Dash, which works just like Sonic's.
First with the neutral attacks and now the down special. You might as well just make it an Echo Fighter for Sonic at this point, because this moveset is just dumb.
Well, do you know where Sonic learned the Spin Dash?
No, there's no way you can convince me to believe where Sonic learned it from.
Tails actually taught him how to Spin Dash. Yep, that's right. Not only did Sonic give him the idea on what his Tails could do, but Tails also returned the favor and taught him how to Spin Dash. So it only made sense to let his down special be Sonic's Spin Dash. It works just like Sonic's, except it's slower and deals less damage. On the plus side, he can jump higher than Sonic can, so use this to your advantage. And finally, for Tails' up special, it was so obvious on what it could be. It would have him fly with his tails, just like it does in his games. His tails deal multiple hits of damage, similar to King K. Rool's up special, but unlike K. Rool's up special, you can cancel out the flying to perform an attack. And now, for Tails' final smash. Tails' final smash will be the Tornado. This will be a cinematic final smash which will involve Tails flying Sonic's airplane, the Tornado. A reticle will appear right in front of Tails. Anyone who's caught in this reticle will be launched by the tornado, causing the cinematic to start. Similar to Fox's final smash. The cinematic plays out with Tails shooting a bunch of missiles at the foe, then ending with Tails crashing right into the foe with the tornado, ending the cinematic. This references the fact that Tails always pilots the tornado, typically to go against a threat in the sky. I gotta be honest, the stage was actually really hard for me because there are so many different locations that fit well for Tails, such as Station Square from Sonic Adventure, Planet Wisp from Sonic Colors, and even Tails' workshop from a majority of Sonic games. But then I realized something. This is the second playable character introduced in the second Sonic game, and then it hit me. What if we went with the second location within Sonic 2? The stage is Chemical Plant Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. This stage works similarly to Green Hill Zone, although it'll have the iconic elements such as the goal poles, loop-de-loops, and the various Sonic characters cameoing in the background. But this stage will also be a lot different. For starters, the ground below you cannot be broken. Second, there will be floating platforms that appear, just like in the original game. And third, I'll be incorporating one of the most iconic elements with this location. Periodically, half the stage will be flooded with purple chemicals, causing you to take damage. But there's more to it than that. If you happen to stay underwater for a total of 15 seconds, the iconic drowning music will start playing, and you'll automatically self-destruct if you stay in for too long. Don't worry though, there are higher platforms you can reach up to. The musical also was a challenge because there aren't as many songs that tie into Tails as well, so I'm going to be pulling songs from the various zones within the Sonic series. total, 12 songs would be included, 3 of which would be remixed. I know this seems lackluster for Tails, but I personally think these songs are good enough for Tails. And that would be if Tails joined Super Smash Bros. To be honest, I think Tails is one of the best secondary characters in video game history. I don't know, I just think he's cool and all. But in terms of if you ever will join Smash, it's tough to say. While I personally think Tails would be another great addition to the roster, I personally don't think he's the immediate next Sonic character to join next. That role goes to Shadow and a few others, but who knows? He could very well be the next Sonic character to come in the next Smash game. Anyways, is there a character you'd like to see be given a Smash moveset? If so, let me know in the comments below. And thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.